Good afternoon. We start with our next session. We see mostly adult patients. Rarely we come across a child, mostly because there is no pediatric gastroenterologist available. And when the child presents with a metabolic abnormality or a storage disease, it really becomes a problem. What test to order, how to interpret it. To solve this enigma, we have Dr. Fazal Nabi, who's going to guide us. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairpersons. Good afternoon, all of you, and I hope you enjoy this Liver Update CME. I have a habit of reading natural history before we go for any liver function or liver injury test. As I was reading, just the great Professor Daniel, he was physician, he said to love, we need a lover, and to live, you need a liver. Centuries ago, the scientists, they removed the liver to see what function it has in our system. From animals, they removed the liver and see for next few hours or days, animal is to die with jaundice, edema, and full bleeding tendencies. Then they came to know that liver has a very important role to maintain these functions. And thereafter, again what they did, they injected some drugs directly into the liver to study the disease pattern. And they came to know further few more functions of the liver. As a clinician, before we move on to a liver injury test or liver functions, it's better to know the basics. What liver has, like any other organ in our system, liver also has a few structures. That's the hepatocytes, biliary tree, blood vessels, and Cooper cells, that is reticuloendothelial system. If you see as a clinician, each and every system has its function, it produces certain symptomatology. For example, hepatocyte necrosis, the non-specific symptoms, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting. Biliary tree produces jaundice, clavicular stools. For example, blood vessels, hepatic vein thrombosis, protuberant abdomen, ascites, and edema. RE cells are not so specific for liver. It's shared by many systems in our body, and it has a primary systemic symptoms rather than specific to the liver. Now, what's the basic functions before we interpret as a clinician what clinical interpretation we do for a liver function test? What's the basic functions? After all that studies, they found out liver has a great functions like bile production, which helps in fat absorption, storage of glycogen, lipids, multivitamins, copper in the liver, and in nutrient interconversion, detoxification, that is producing ammonia and converting into urea, phagocytosis, which phagocytes dying RBCs and WBCs, and then finally the synthetic function. Great, all proteins, any protein molecules, almost all synthesized by the liver. Liver function test. All laboratories liver function test means only biochemical test. There's a beyond biochemical test. There are many other tests. We see, like we have a radiological test, and even urine analysis also will contribute to the liver functions. It has a synthetic, transport, and metabolic functions. Okay, there are many functions, like if you see serum albumin, ceruloplasmin, all that protein synthetic functions, and other side is a transport and metabolic functions. Okay. Before we move on to the biochemical test, which we see in day-to-day or practice, what other radiological and plus even urine analysis. For radiological, we have ultrasonography that also contributes to liver pressure, that is the portal system pressures. And there's one more test, that is acoustic RP, that can differentiate from normal liver to fatty liver, and this ultrasonographic waves that transmit to the tissues, liver tissues, that differentiate between the normal liver, fatty liver, from cirrhosis and even from fibrosis of the liver. The transmission rate, they say, is a 1 to 1.5 is normal, is less than 1 meter per second is a fatty liver, the most severe one is more than 2.5 meters per second. DSA can tell you site of obstruction, even pressure system in the portal veins. High resolution CT scans can contribute to localized hyperperfuse or local perfuse tissues in the liver. And urine, in direct hyperbilirubinemia, we see urine analysis. Now coming to, when do you order a liver function test? Is there any specific symptoms, clinical signs or symptoms for liver functions? No, answer is no, all these are liver functions. If you say, just for example, jaundice, it may not be a liver related, it may be hemolytic anemias. Pruritus is again, it may be allergic. Bleeding tendency, coagulation factor deficiency, sometimes mucus and skin bleed we see in a platelet deficiencies. Hepatomegaly is non-specific, most of the time you may have a normal liver functions. It may be just part of any systemic illness. Ascites, cardiac, renal, and malnutrition. Like that, Tomar erythema, encephalopathy may not be related to the liver. What is important is each and every disease, what patient has symptoms and complaints, go by onset, duration and progression of the disease. If you go by these three, then you can conclude what patient has, what is the primary disease, whether it is a liver or not related to the liver. If you take all these clinical signs and symptoms, then we can surely say it's more specific to liver and more specific to liver. If you take as one symptom, it may not be related to liver. We taught in our PG days liver function test. Liver enzymes is a hepatic cell necrosis. That's an anatomical interpretation. As a clinician, what interpretation we have to do once if we have a report in your hand? This is a report what we see, just liver enzymes, albumin, SAC, prothrombin time, even GGT. Suppose if you have this report, how will you interpret this? Not by anatomy. Anatomy will tell you just anatomical location. For a clinical interpretation, you need to have, as a clinician, we should see, suppose for enzyme involvement like ALT and AST, will tell you about the acuity of the liver disease. I understand it's a hepatocell necrosis, but hepatocell necrosis in fulminant liver disease, you may not see ALT and AST rising, it may fall down to normal. And bilirubin will tell you about the extent and severity of the liver disease. Okay, and GGT and alkaline phosphatase will tell you about the obstruction of biliary canaliculi biliary system. And albumin will tell you about the chronicity. SAG ratio will tell you the site of vascular obstruction. And prothrombin time, INR, will tell you about the prognosis of the disease. This is a clinical interpretation, not by just albumin synthetic function has gone down. That doesn't mean anything. What you interpret is a clinical interpretation. For example, you have this LFT. Enzymes are 8658, serum protein and albumin is low, 4 and 4.2, bilirubin is high with a direct hyperbilirubinemia, alkaline phosphatase is normal, and PT-INR is elevated. Now how will you interpret this? Don't go for that. Hepatic cell necrosis, synthetic function of cell gone down, no. This is just one simple line interpretation is chronic, that's because albumin is low, extensive, that's bilirubin is gone up, severe because of bilirubin, liver disease with INR has gone up, it's with bad prognosis. This is a simple clinical interpretation. It's a chronic, extensive, severe liver disease with bad prognosis. That's it. This, by looking at the LFT, this is interpretation. Once if we reach to this clinical interpretation, then go in that direction to diagnose the etiology of the disease. Go in a chronic disorders. Coming to each parameter of liver functions, ALT you have largely in the liver, and AST you see in many other systems like heart, skeletal muscles, and kidney, brain and liver. That's why whenever we have a primary liver disease, ALT is more elevated, and when you have a systemic disease with a liver involvement, you may see AST is more than ALT. What does it tell you? Anatomically, it tells you active ongoing hepatocellular necrosis. That means, for example, in fulminant hepatic failure, initial stages you may see going up more, like hepatitis, viral hepatitis, enzymes are in thousands. But in a late stage of hepatic failure, you may see same enzyme coming down. That means there is no active ongoing necrosis in terminal stages of fulminant hepatic failure. The cells are already dead. You don't see any further elevation of enzymes. And as a clinical interpretation is an acuity of liver disease. For example, you have a congenital hepatic fibrosis, cirrhosis of the liver, you may see a normal liver. Acuity, acute viral hepatitis, you see a liver enzymes elevated. Somehow in Wilson's disease, AST is always disproportionately low in this condition. The reason we don't know exactly. Now coming to bilirubin, degradation of RBCs. It just comes down from breakdown of RBCs. It's overproduction or decreased clearance. One of these has to be imbalanced. And for a clinician, is like total bilirubin. Normal levels are anywhere, total bilirubin is 0.2 to 1, and direct component anything more than 20% is abnormal. Suppose if you have total bilirubin of 1 and direct component is 0.4, but still consider that as abnormal. It's 0.4, more than 20%, though you have a total bilirubin of 1. It tells you there is something early liver disease which is coming in. And as a clinical is the extent and severity of the liver disease. Serum proteins. Yes, albumin, you take is a general term, serum proteins. Like its liver synthesis lot of protein molecules, including your CRP, C-reactive protein also synthesized in the liver. Like albumin is a major protein which has a half-life of 21 days. It involves in the chronicity, and protein synthesis is also based on nutritional and hormonal and osmotic pressures. It tells you about the chronicity of the liver disease. And now coming to globulin, produced in stimulated B lymphocytes, elevated in chronic liver disease like autoimmune disorders, chronic inflammation and malignant infiltration. Alkaline phosphatase. Primarily it's found because it's found in biliary tract, bones, intestine and placenta. It tells you about the obstructive liver disease. Age differences. In children who is growing age group, you may see a higher values even up to 600, and in a old age again you see a high value. In between it's a normal range. You know that all these anatomical location, biliary tract, bones, intestine and placenta, any disease in these systems can cause high elevated alkaline phosphatase, but few conditions which can cause low levels. That is hypothyroidism, zinc deficiency, Wilson's with hemolysis. The low ratio of alkaline phosphatase to bilirubin is poor prognosis. Sorry, this is the last two slides. And liver PT is a bleeding tendency. It's a liver synthesis almost all coagulation factors except factor 8. Prognosis of the liver disease, as we have discussed, it's not specific. Deficiency coagulation factors, it's not specific. You may find it in a drug. And DIC, in simple vitamin K, you may see a prolonged PT. Just therapeutic trial with a vitamin K will differentiate whether it's a liver cell is involved or it's just a vitamin K deficiency. For example, newborn hemorrhagic disease. Ceruloplasmin synthesized in the liver, acute phase of protein like CRP, low levels is found in Wilson's, simple malnutrition, neonates, and protein losing enteropathies, copper deficiency, Menkes disease, and aceruloplasminemia. Take home message is no single biochemical test or clinical sign or symptoms can detect the global function. As a clinician, you need to interpret patient's symptomatology like onset, duration, progression, then come to conclusion whether it's a primary liver disease, and all liver function tests, what we talk, all together, not as a single specific. Then we can interpret clinical symptomatology, we can interpret a liver function test. The most important, as I said, clinical history, physical examination, and complete LFT is required to interpret liver function test. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed your talk. I'll open the floor to any questions, but I'd like to make a comment if I can. So, to summarize your talk, I can say that if the liver is failing, you make the diagnosis on the basis of, if it is an acute liver failure, on the basis of PT or INR, and if it's chronic liver failure, on the basis of your albumin. The AST and ALT are just telling you about hepatocellular damage. Is that correct? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. The one situation that I want to mention is sometimes you have isolated rise in AST, and because AST is expressed in other organs of the body, we've picked up a few Becker's muscular dystrophy, on the basis of high AST. So please do us, if you just see an isolated high AST in a normal child who is growing with no problems, just do a creatinine kinase. Don't go for the dystrophy gene, which will cost you loads of money. Just go for a creatinine kinase, and if the creatinine kinase is high, then you can have a high index of suspicion.